We're here in Montreal, Quebec, what is colonizers named as Canada. We are standing in front of one of the Enbridges, so their so-called owner territory that they seem to want to come in and purchase and buy and stay for a while until they can get what they need and then they leave. Here we are presenting an invoice to Enbridge in the sum of over $266 billion, and you for yourself can read what the readout says, and if you have any questions, you can go and contact Honor the Earth Research Department for the information of what this entails. One of the reasons why we decided to come to COP15 and present and talk about and bring a lot of the water protectors is that we want to make sure our voices are here, they're loud, the truth is here to prevail, and all we want to do is have some dialogue, because every time we come into some dialogue of asking some common concerns and questions within the environment and climate that's happening to individuals, you know, regardless of what income level you are, what preference of an individual that you prefer to say yourself within your identity, any color factor, what it is. What we're talking about is plain and simple, is humanity. How are we working together? When we find out, when we work with individuals that are standoffish, that are argumentative, that want to fight, and they don't want to answer the questions that we're asking and answer, we really want to know what's behind this hidden agenda. So I'm standing here today with Rebecca, and we just want to have a dialogue of some of our concerns that, you know, what we would like to have answered. Rebecca?
Yeah, thank you so much for all of us for being here. We're in Montreal, but some of us, great-grandmother is from northern Michigan. Minnesota. We have people from Michigan, we have people from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, and we're all here because this Canadian billion-dollar multinational company is going through our territories and destroying our water, and they have for how many years, great-grandmother, have they been in northern Minnesota?
70
you know,
years. I'm original product from Line 3, from the first initial ones that came through. And then seeing this second addition that's happening. But what really brought my concerns to really come and have a voice here at the COP and just outside the gates of Enbridge is that my hometown on the Leechik Reservation had a boil water alert. Now this is popping up so much all over the place, but it happens to be close to a lot of the pipelines, you know, it's happening within the low income areas and out there. So if you really start looking, and it doesn't have to be on the reservations, it's in the low income neighborhoods within the townships and the cities and out there, and you can't paint a culture and identity on it. When somebody gets sick from whatever the spillage or whatever the bacteria or whatever comes from it, you know, this is a community concern. This isn't a cultural concern. This is a community concern that we have to really ask these important questions, and it's not making threat. You know, if somebody was taking you by the throat, choking you, and you had your last breath, what would be that question that you would want to ask, or what would be the last thing would come out of it? Would be help. And that's all we're asking, is help us understand why the content of your business, why do you have to apply it to our neighborhoods? Why can't you take it into the upper crust, wealthy neighborhoods that are not going to question, and the ones that are supporting you, put it in their backyards? Then I don't think we would be having this conversation, at least to this degree. But when it becomes an environmental concern for humanity, then we have to ask the questions. We have to be at the table. We can't have any side things of saying because or having money thrown at it and stuff. This is something that is gonna not sustain us. It's detaining us in situations where we don't want to be in, and that's health issues. So any more?
Yeah, I think, maybe don't even put it in the rich people's backyard.
Yes.
We're in a time of transition on the planet. This oil in the Enbridge Lines 3, Lines 5, and Lines 9, it comes from the tar sands in Alberta, Canada. It comes through the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe people in Canada, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, in northern Michigan, back to Canada. It's going from Canada to Canada through Indigenous territories. The original product is one of the most dirty, polluting. The people who live up in Alberta, whose land those are, have been devastated, just devastated. It's apocalypse is now for them. And that oil doesn't need to be used. We have the technology and the capacity to live in harmony with the earth with non-polluting fuel. So we got to transition away from this stuff. We're saying reject Line 5. Currently there's a proposal to reroute a Line 5 in northern Wisconsin, and we're saying reject that. We're saying decommission the Line 5 under the Straits of Mackinac. We're saying take all of your pipelines out of the territories, because water is life, and in our Great Lakes region, that's 20% of the planet's fresh water.
Absolutely. So yeah, nothing should be in the ground but the seeds that we plant for the gardens of our ancestors and to move forward.
So we're speaking to Enbridge in a language that they understand, which is money.
Yes.
And their investors understand money. And their investors should know this is a bad deal. This is not, this $266 billion plus is what y'all's company, the damage you've created in our communities. This isn't to say we want money. This is to tell you in your own language how much you've hurt us. But the actual harm is so much deeper,
Yes.
isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's so much deeper.
You can't put a price on life, period. You can't eat money. The thing is, when you start bruising the planet, you're bruising humanity. Not just us, but you're bruising yourself. You're inflicting such harm that is such a real silence of what I don't think really anybody really understands. It's a slow suicide to your own self from the damage that you're doing through this. So within your time, you may say it's not going to affect me, but it's going to affect your children and your grandchildren and anybody that crosses this pathway of what's being harmed. So
we can do it. We will do it. Mm-hmm. We are going to create a new and healed humanity and a new and healed earth.
And it's going to be either with you or without you.
That's right. We're doing it. Yeah. It's going to happen.
So right now it seems to be doing it without you, but you know what? We're a kind group of people, and we want to have a kind conversation. Bickering and being argumentative is where a lot of people like to have the arenas being met. But I think we surpassed that. What we want to do is have not just only the people standing here or the other water protectors or the other individuals out there that are really fighting for climate. We need to bring the recognition. We also need to bring the information. We also need to bring the intrigue to even our neighbor to say, pay attention to what's happening around you. Don't start owning what might be around you when you go to the doctors, or what's happening in the ground, or whatever it may be. Let's stop this hazardous holocaust, and that's what it is. It's hazardous holocaust that is just really, really doing such harm to the earth. And this earth here is everybody's home, so we need to get everybody on board. So
I live right in the Straits of Mackinac, and I grew up there my whole life, and water is precious. It heals. It gives life. I get to grow things. Not only is water comes in many forms. It comes in snow and rain and ice. And that's a big issue we're facing, is that if we wait till the spring for Line 5 to be shut down and removed, It has to live at the bottom of the base, the bedrock of the straits. And it's so cold right now. Currently it's 17 degrees out here in Canada. It's pretty much the same temperature in Michigan. And so the integrity of that pipeline it's already past being dangerous. It can potentially burst at any time, and that will directly go into 20% of the world's fresh water. And so, we stand here together, and we stand here peacefully, and we will do that everywhere we go, because we are ourselves and wanting to protect the water, and that's what we're here for. So thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for everyone to be here.
We're here to say we can no longer watch the destruction of the planet, and we're here to protect the water that is our resource and your resource together. Water is life. Shut down line 5, 3, and 9.
Yeah, awesome. We also are here to support all the other, I don't even like to use the word activists. I like to use as climate concerned citizens of the planet out there. And there's so many different delegates. There's so many different organizations that are here in Montreal wanting to hear their voice. So, at COP, Conference of the Parties, the thing is, what you need to do is make sure you invite the community in. It should be Conference of the Communities. We need to sit at these tables, because the majority of what you're speaking about this planet are left outside those doors. There is just maybe 2-3% of the world's population that gets to go in those doors. And the other part of it too is, if you really, really want to be a good citizen, a good Mother Earth child out there, is start with being friendly. And we need to stop the bullying, because it doesn't need to be within who we are as a people any longer. So again, I want to say Chini Gwich.
Thank you. I want to be here for the folks within my area of northern Wisconsin. The reroute of the Line 5 is going to affect so many different things. My friend has a trout nursery through her property, and it will definitely affect that. And then I also want to say that even the process of rerouting this line, which would per se be a safer route and line, and then is also devastation. We're going through so many lands where there's so many creatures and trees and animals and roots and micro things that it affects. And then just the setup for them to per se do it to protect the lands, making these big mats, we're devastating the oak forests and such just to make these lands. So it's like not only the pipeline, there's all these processes that come to do that are so devastating to our lands too. So I'm here for against the reroute of Line 5, and then just take that line out. Let's be done with it.
Oh,
thank you.
I'd add something. Thank you for the opportunity. I think there's 3 main reasons for saying no to Line 5, Line 3, Line 9, all these tar sands pipelines, is Indigenous sovereignty and respecting treaty rights. There's a reason right there. The extreme environmental damage that they threaten, there's a reason. But we are also facing an existential crisis with climate change. And as you were saying, this oil needs to be in the ground. We have to make a transition. And our governments, the governments of the global north, have been incapable of making that transition. We're here from, many of us from the United States, and we're here to meet our Canadian counterparts, our brothers and sisters who are in this struggle. And today is an important day because we make that link in the chain of this struggle to make a world for our children and grandchildren and their grandchildren, and it's up to us. We have been failed by our governments, and we must do this work. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity that all of you have created to bring us together.
You know, my name's Joe Hill. I'm from down to Waka, Seneca. I'm here in Montreal because 1701, we made a treaty with the Anishinaabe that got a lot of $1 million. And in that treaty, we agreed to share the land, but we also accepted the responsibility to protect the land. I live right along the Niagara River, right by Lake Erie. We need to keep that water clean. Yeah.
Elizabeth Clark, Nadishnikaz, Bodawato McQuee, Allegan, Michigan, and Ada Gobles, Michigan is where I'm from, and I've grown up in West Michigan my entire life. I've noticed there's a lot of ecological damage already to the Kalamazoo River, where I'm from, that has still not been cleaned up from Line 6B. And also I'd like to represent missing and murdered Indigenous women that these man camps create from your greed of money. And we come in a peaceful way and in a prayerful way and acknowledge that that there's treaties that have been made between many nations that need to still be honored. And with all respect, we ask that you listen to our voices. The Anishinaabe have always been caretakers and stewards of this land, and the indigenous knowledge is that the climate is changing and the earth is sick. And we as human beings need to make a change. And we need to make a change now. Can't wait. Miigwech for listening.
When all the people that view this, part of this record is going to be held within the old Enbridge library that they held within Park Rapids, Minnesota. At Honor the Earth is gracefully bought out and turned it into the Water Protected Museum, so you can get this viewing there or on honortheearth.org on their Facebook line. But also, as we were saying, I'm so glad with the closing, so many people spoke up because, it's the we thing, it's not the me thing. But you got to remember, our ancestors, everybody's ancestors, for thousands of years lived organically and didn't need all of this. It was within the last 150 to 160 years, just in that short amount of time, this chaos was created. And we all had a hand in it. We have to be very, very honest and speak our truth. But now we have to wake up and we have to undo. We have to keep a clear mind, the alertness within our community, speak our voices. So we have to speak up. We have to be in this movement in order to make something move back to a healthy way of being that our ancestors provided for us. So, within closing, I want to say to you, Miigwech, it was such an honor to hold this space. What we're trying to bring you is to bring you such an educational platform for you to make the choice. Not hear my voice to say you want to follow me. Know what's in your environment. You be the one that wants to stand up because you see the harm that's happening. Water is life. Water is life. Miigwech.